Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Redeemed Marriage Podcast. Rusty and Heather Bryant back with you. And we have the same clothes on as last week, so don't get confused. We are recording 2 episodes today because we got some traveling coming up, and so just wanted to make sure that we had plenty of time to put all of our energy and effort into this, and so today was a great day to do that.
And guess what? Today's February.
Oh, my goodness.
I know. When they're listening to this,
That's right.
February.
That's
so
right.
Our prayer challenge has officially started.
Yes, and it's not too late to sign up if there's slots available, which I would imagine because we left plenty of spots left. So go to our website, theredeemedmarriage.com, click on the top where it says prayer challenge, and you can sign up for a day and a time in February for us to pray for you and your marriage, and we would be so honored to do that. Also, if you're in the Birmingham area, don't forget that in just a short couple of weeks, we will be at Gardendale First Baptist Church.
February 13th.
February 13th, you can go to their website. I think it's gfbc.com, and you can sign up there, register. I think it's a $30 charge maybe, but there'll be dessert and stuff, and they also do childcare, and so it's going to be a great night, and we look forward to hanging out with you there, and can't wait to see you guys. So if you're anywhere near the area or within driving distance, come on over, February 13th, Gardendale First Baptist Church. All right, so today, she's in charge.
I don't like it.
So I do have a little bit of an idea because I think it's a little bit of a springboard from last week.
Yeah.
So if you didn't listen to last week, go back and listen.
Yes.
It was basically a conversation where if I sat down like me today, if I could go back 14 and a half years, sit across the table from Heather the day after she confessed to me about infidelity, what I would say to her on that day. And so it's basically a checklist, 10 things that you can go and you can begin to do to start the healing road and the healing journey. So, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
So
last week was really, really good. You did a great job. And it put a little pressure on because when you came in from running that day, you were like, I really have a really cool topic for our podcast. And you started talking about, if I could tell my younger self something, but it was kind of a twist. It was, no, if I could talk to you 15 years later. And gosh, when you were talking last week about all of the things, all of those S's, I was like, yes, yes, and yes, and yes. Plus I could think some other things I would want to say to me, and they weren't so nice. But when you were like, what would you say to me? Like, what would I, Heather, say to you, Rusty, the day after I confessed? What would I say that I need from you? And, when I first started thinking about it, I was like, I have no right to say anything to you as far as you need to do this and you need to do this. I mean, I have no right for that. But as I really started thinking and asking God to kind of show me some things that I could say to you on things that you need, I started, God can use Instagram every now and then. I started seeing these posts several weeks ago that say, one day somebody will tell you to go on a trip to Europe. It's important that you listen to them. And then it's, this whole trip to Europe in the background. Or one day you'll say yes to a man, or he'll ask you to marry him. It's important you say yes, and all that. And I started thinking, what would that look like in our story? And so I came up with one day somebody's going to tell you to walk away from your marriage. And it's important that you don't listen to them.
Oh, wow.
Because that was a lot of the voices. A lot of the voices were telling you to leave. She'll do this again. She doesn't deserve a second chance. Your boys don't deserve that. Like all of these things people would say to you, I would say the majority. And you didn't listen. You listened to the voice of God instead that asked you specifically to stay. And so that's kind of what mine is. You had S's. I don't work in S's. I work in one day someone will tell you. Okay. So those are my titles. So the first one is one day someone will tell you to leave. It will never get better. And it's really important that you don't listen to them. I would tell you to please stop and take a breath and make a decision that is not a decision in the trauma.
Mm-hmm.
It's take a breath, get some counsel, think about the decisions that you need to make, because it wasn't just you and I that were involved. It was our family, our boys. And it wasn't just then, it was just them. It was generational. You were making a decision the day after a horrible confession that could change our family tree forever. And you made that after sitting and resting and getting godly counsel. So really listening to, being careful to the voices that you listen to, because there were a lot of them.
Well, and you can always go to somebody that's going to tell you what you want to hear. And, you know, it would have been really easy for me to pick those out. I think kind of the key there is just kind of zooming out and trying to get the big picture, which is so hard to do when you're in a traumatic situation, because you're just so focused on the here and now, and you're focused on your pain and your emotions, and it's really easy to react to that. And so instead of reacting, it's so much more important to respond. And in order to respond correctly, you do kind of have to back up and take that big picture approach. And, you know, like you said, it's bigger than just, you know, trying to stay in a marriage. There's a family tree and a legacy and like generations that could potentially be affected. And so, you know, the easy and flinch to this is, I got to get out of this situation. But instead, I remember like, you know, people always say that whenever something happens, like even a death in the family, and maybe you get an inheritance or something, you know, when there's money, you always wait like 6 months, or you wait and let things kind of settle down in your own heart before you make any big decisions, because nobody can make wise decisions in the midst of the trauma. And so it's important to just take a breath and get counsel. And you don't have to make a decision today.
And it's okay if you need to separate, if you need to have some space. Like you asked me to go to my parents' house for a while because you needed just some time with me, not in your face, with you not having to worry about what I was doing, but here. And I don't mean like separate, you know, for a year. I'm just saying
like legal things.
I'm just saying some space
and so
to be able to.
And
make
I
that.
think even that, like, I'm really glad you brought that up, because I do think that our circumstances, because of like your family living here and being supportive and knowing that they would be a safe place for you and for me, and that I felt comfortable with you there, because I also know that separation sometimes it's really scary if like I've like you betrayed me, and if we don't have family or somewhere safe for you to go, but I was like, I don't want you in the house, but I'd be more terrified about where you are if you leave the house. So I'd rather you be in the house where I can. Where
at least you know where I am and what I'm doing.
So we get all that, and it just so happens that we were in a place where that made sense for us. But there's also a lot of situations where it's like, we might just better tough this out. Maybe we're sleeping in the same bed, you're on a couch, you know, whatever. But again, those are circumstances that we don't know anything about, and we can't control those.
So that's just the first one, is not to make a decision out of trauma. Like to just really listen to some wise counsel. Okay, the second one is, one day someone will tell you, if you forgive her, you're weak. And I don't need you to listen to that. We hear that, don't we? I mean, like I've even heard you say that men will be like, I'm not forgiving her, that's weak. Or, you know, and it's not. Like forgiveness is such a powerful thing, because it doesn't come natural for us. It in scripture, it tells us that we forgive because Christ has forgiven us. And so, I feel like that so many people get stuck on this, and we talk about it a lot, because forgiveness isn't just a moment, it's a process. But you forgave me. It was a choice that you decided to forgive me, but then it was a process. And it wasn't a weakness. Like, it was absolutely the strongest thing that you could have done as a man, because I'm sure the flesh was like, I don't want to do this. But you use that same power that God gives us, and that he chooses to forgive us. And so we're called to forgive others. And you did that, and you did that well.
Mm. Well, I mean, you think about where forgiveness, true forgiveness, really comes from, and that's from what Jesus did for us. And, would we look at Jesus and how he was, beaten and stripped naked, and all of the things that he went through carrying the cross for us, and then willingly dying on the cross? I don't think anybody's going to say, well, that was weak. I mean, and that's what he did for us, and it was all for forgiveness.
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody this week about just anger, and how, sometimes we justify our anger and say, yeah, well, Jesus got angry too. But if you look at the times that Jesus was angry, and the one that everybody thinks about is when he overthrew the money changers in the temple, but he never got angry when somebody did something to him. It wasn't, anytime somebody did something to him, he never got angry at them. He always forgave them and loved them. I mean, but when people were doing something to God, like that was the righteous anger that came about. But I think that, and it was because, obviously Jesus was perfect, but he never had his eyes on himself. So it wasn't like, oh, you did this to me, so I'm not going to forgive you. So he was always willing to love and forgive, especially when somebody did something to him.
Right.
So that's our example.
Yeah.
So that's what we're supposed to do.
That's right. Okay, so the first one was that I would tell you is to not make a decision out of trauma, just to really think. And then the second one is to be open to forgive me when forgiveness is needed. The third thing is, one day someone will tell you you can never trust her again. And I need you to open your heart to trusting me. And again, this is one of those things where I'm like, I can't demand that, the day after, but that's what I would tell you. I need you to be willing to trust me again. I needed boundaries. Like, I needed you to give me boundaries. I needed you to require that I be transparent with you.
Do you think you needed those because you were scared that you would do something wrong if you didn't have those boundaries? Or do you just feel like those boundaries were a way that you could show me that I could trust you again, and that you were learning how to be a safe place for me?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes, be.
Okay.
Definitely be.
Yeah.
And like, I think about our children. They say, like, these psychologists say, that children crave boundaries because it makes them feel safe and it makes them feel loved. Like, if you let your children just do what they want to do, there's all this freedom. They may think it's cool for a while, but they don't feel safe and protected because they don't have boundaries. And so the fact that you say you cannot do that, and I'm protecting you from that, makes them feel safe. And so I think that that's what I needed. Like, I needed for you to put those boundaries around me, because I didn't trust myself, for one, because I had just blown up my world. And so those boundaries were just there, that made me feel like you loved me and you were protecting me, because you were saying, this is what the limit is. This is the boundary. And you made me be transparent with you. Like, there was full honesty. And
But there should be,
Sure,
that's
sure.
and that's the thing that I think there's so much pushback and there's tension and conflict there. And people just feel like, oh, I don't want to be controlled. And you're like, yeah, but that's not, I mean, you put boundaries and protection and you're transparent because you love somebody.
That's right.
It's
That's right.
not, I
Yeah.
mean, it's not to be mean or to
controlling
rule
or-
over somebody. It's
Yeah.
these are agreed upon because this is the most important thing to protect
Yeah.
in our lives.
Yeah. I wrote down some practical examples of these, like your phone's accounts open, no passwords. We went to counseling. There was accountability. I had a mentor. You allow, okay, this is one of the things, it's not, I mean, I'm just going to tie it into this one, is you allowed hard conversations. You didn't shut down and check out emotionally when things got hard just to protect yourself. Like you were willing to have those hard conversations. And I think that was part of, it's part of rebuilding that trust on both sides. It's like you allowed me to talk about things. And because you were allowing that, you begin to see and start trusting me again. So, all right, the fourth one. One day, this is a good one. One day someone will tell you that you should punish me forever so that I never forget what I did. If I was sitting down across from you, I would say, yes, you deserve to be angry. Of course you do. You deserve to grieve. But I don't need you to continually punish me for what I did. And you did a beautiful job not doing that. I just think that a lot of times that becomes the case, that it's constantly brought up, constantly held over somebody's head, constantly you did this, and you just never did that. And that gave me a lot of space and a lot of freedom to grow and to draw closer to the Lord, because I did enough of that on my own. Like I had enough of like shame and guilt and all of that just on my own without you adding that on to me.
I wonder too, and I don't want to put words in your mouth because, but maybe I'm saying, as the person that's sitting here listening to you, I think I would want you to say this to me too. But along those lines of what you're talking about, maybe I would even want, and you can tell me, maybe this is wrong. Maybe you don't even feel this way. But I think you never forget about it anyway. And I think that knowing that you don't forget about it is somewhat of a comfort, or could be somewhat of a comfort, because I think sometimes we get hung up in this space, the person that's been betrayed, and we're like, I think about this all the time. You caused it. It's your fault. You gave me you dumped all this in my lap, and I never, I don't think about anything else.
Yeah.
But then we look over at you and we're like, you don't ever even think about this. And this isn't fair because it occupies all of my energy and all of my thoughts and all of my time. And I don't know that that's really true. I think that you will always remember what you've done, not to the same degree and the same amount of guilt and shame, obviously, but just knowing that even here I am 14 years later, and there can be something that happens and I still think about it. Well, in the same way, I think that you do too.
100%.
And so I think there's some comfort in knowing you're not just trying to, I mean, it's not an avoidance or anything like you, it's still there. You just don't know how to handle the outward part of it either.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe you can put that into some kind of words or something. I don't know.
In some kind of words.
Some kind of words.
No, I agree with you. I mean, I think about it a lot. And I think, we hear a lot of people say, well, of course y'all think about it a lot. You talk about it every week on a podcast.
Yeah.
But even if we didn't, it would always be part of our story. And that's actually what I was going to talk about for the final one is one day someone will tell you that your marriage will always be the affair story. And that's not true.
No. Before you go there, which
Sure.
I think is a great place to end on, like I even think people need to understand. So you need to understand as the person that did this and caused this conflict and turmoil, that even when I say to you, gosh, it would make me feel better, just, especially early on, knowing that you think about it too. But then I go, whoa, I don't want you to really think about it, because what if you're thinking about what you did,
Sure,
And it's such, I'm telling you, like, these are the kind of things, and there's people that are listening or watching on YouTube, and they're going, yes, that's it. Like I'm crazy. Because I do want to know that they think about it, because I think about it all the time. But no, I don't want you to think about it. Don't think about it, because what if you're thinking about them?
Yeah.
And it's just this
Chaos.
It is. It's craziness. And so then people are going, well, what do I do? What do I do? And so it gets to maybe, hey, maybe I'm sitting across from you the day after and I go, hey, 15 years later, Heather, can you make sense of that to me? I'm just putting you really on the spot.
No,
But I'm like, really, can you make sense of that? Because I want you to, like, I know early on I wanted to know that you were thinking about it, because I didn't want to be the only one that was wearing all of this and feeling all this. But I really didn't want you to think about it, because I was scared you were going to think about something good.
15-year-old Heather can do this. Just shush.
Okay.
15-year-old Heather can do this. 15-year-out Heather would say, you wanted me to think about you and how I hurt you because of what I did, not about the actual affair and what I did. You wanted me to think about the effects of the affair, not the actual affair. And I did. I mean, I saw how it hurt you, and I could think about how it hurt you and how it hurt our family without thinking about the affair, the actual affair. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So did I do that?
Yeah,
okay?
that was great. Perfect.
Okay, good.
All right, check that box. Move on.
Okay. I'm glad I could help.
That was good.
Okay, so I've already said the last one, but I want to camp here for a minute. The one day somebody will tell you your marriage will always be the affair story. And I think that, well, first of all, I know that that's not true. We live our affair story every day because we meet with people and we talk about it on a podcast, all with the hopes that someone out there will hear it and go, you know what, I'm going to fight for my marriage. If they did it, I know I can do it, and that there's hope and that people will see Jesus through it. So yes, it will always be a part of our story, but our story is not the affair. Like, God can write a new story. And that's what I would want to sit across from you and say, is that give God the pen, let him recreate. Like, it doesn't have to be the end of our story. It can be the turning point. Okay. So this is where we turn, and this is where we go a different direction. And it can be even more beautiful than it was before, which we are living proof that it is. For those of you who don't know, we're coming up in July. So, this summer, 30 years of marriage, and 15 years were pre-affair, and now we were coming up on 15 years post-affair.
Crazy.
So we will have been married just as long after as we were before. And I can promise you that we 100% agree with each other that this 15 years has been so much better and more God-honoring and more fun and more enjoyable and more life-giving than the first 15 years. And so it's not the end of your story. It can be the beginning. And that's what I would tell you. Like, let's give God the pen and let him write something new with us. I wrote down some things that just kind of went with what we're talking about. And I want your thoughts on them as well.
Before you go there,
Yeah.
can I just real quick
Sure.
piggyback on what you said? You know, when we started doing some ministry work, or I guess just helping other marriages, we landed on the name of our ministry. It was actually Three Strands Marriage Ministry, and it went back to a cord of three strands cannot be broken. Somewhere along the way, I think what happened was when we started this podcast, we wanted to call it the Redeemed Marriage Podcast. And then that just became the name of our ministry. But I think the reason for that is because we are not like we tell our story all the time, just like you said. But I don't think people look at us and say, "Oh, that's the couple that had the affair." Like I think that they look at us and they go, "Oh, that's the redeemed marriage." Like that's why we named it that, because we didn't want the story to be about the affair. We could have called it "How to Heal from an Affair," or
We had an affair,
or a broken marriage, or it could have been anything. But like that's not our story. The story is we're a redeemed marriage. So yeah, that was the piggyback. Go.
Okay. All right. So you ready? These are quotes I would say to you that day. I need you to keep picturing a future with me.
That's good.
I need you to stay anchored, which you did this so beautifully. I need you to stay anchored when my shame tries to drown me.
Okay.
I know you didn't ask for this, but I also need you to know that God can truly restore. And this sentence is, it's going to land on somebody out there. If God truly restores, you're going to have to let restoration have a place to land. Like there has to be a place for that in your life. You can't just keep holding on. And this is so hard for me to say, like I'm saying it to you because you didn't do this. But I know that there's people out there that they're giving no room for God to restore, and that restoration of a marriage doesn't have anywhere to land in their home or in their relationship. It's just they won't let it.
Yeah.
If I do the work, if I walk in truth, if I walk in humility, if I walk in accountability and transparency, please don't keep treating me like I'm the woman I used to be.
That's good.
Not trusting forever isn't protection. At some point, it becomes punishment. And that's something we've seen a lot. And again, I feel like these are some of the things where I'm like, I would have never had to say that to you because you did so well. But these are things I would say to someone.
Yeah, because this is what we deal with on a regular basis. Are, people that just, they don't make room for the miracle.
They don't. And I'm so thankful that you did make room for the miracle. And they keep not trusting. It's not enough. What you're doing is not enough. And they end up punishing their spouse. And it becomes like this prison that the spouse, even though they are doing all the hard work and they are trusting the Lord and they're seeking Him daily and the fruit is just blooming off of them. It's just like they're stuck in this cage because their spouse just won't trust.
And I'm going to be really bold here and maybe really tick some people off because I was the person that was betrayed. And we said this a few weeks ago that on one of our podcasts that it's really hard because at some point in the journey, the person that's been betrayed can get this twisted sense of, well, now this is my fault because we're not allowing healing to take place. And so, where it was always, well, it's your fault that we're dealing with this. But then all of a sudden we feel some guilt and shame because it's like, oh no, this is my fault because I'm not letting us move forward. And I just want to, this is very bold, but I will say this. Sometimes it is your fault. And because it's just like what you said, is that the not allowing, because we say all the time, it's not my job to trust you, it's your job to be trustworthy. But guess what? If you become trustworthy and I don't trust you, if I'm not willing to trust you, because that's my step. My step is the willingness. And if I'm not willing to trust you, then where we're stuck and not moving forward, it is my fault. And as much as you want to go back and you want to trace it back to, yeah, but if you had never done this, well, you can say that until you're blue in the face. But like, they're doing everything that they're supposed to do in this moment in time. And if that's the case, then you're the one that's keeping them from healing.
Yep. I read this somewhere, and it's going to kind of sum up what you just said. I need you to stop asking me to pay forever for what Jesus has already redeemed.
That's it.
And I mean, that is it. If your spouse is living in a way that is like, you know what, God has redeemed me. He's redeemed me. I am chasing him. I'm doing everything I know to do. And you're still asking them to pay for it. You're hurting your marriage more than you're helping. And what you just said, then it becomes your fault. And that's hard. I mean, that's a hard swing because it's like, oh, it was this, and now, whoa, we're back over here, and it's this person's fault. That's why you just have to live so open-handedly. And I would tell you, I can't even dream, think, or imagine how hard it would be to trust me again. Like, I can't imagine. But when the fruit is there, when you see it there, I need for you to encourage that growth and not squash it. And you did a beautiful job of that.
That's good. All right. That was great. Thank you for sitting me down.
You're welcome. And although all I wanted to say was, whatever you say, I'll do it. I don't have to tell you anything. You're doing a great job.
I don't know. Those first few days I don't know what I did, to be real honest.
Well, I'm thankful that you did them.
Well, it was a team effort. We made it. And here we are.
Here we are.
Almost 15 years later.
Giving people hope.
Yep.
That can be you as well. God's big enough.
Absolutely.
Let him work the miracle.
Yep. All right. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next time. Peace.